critics hitting the Biden administration with all that going on for suggesting Cubans' protests are driven mostly by COVID-19 issues. State Department official Julie Chung tweeted, "Peaceful protests are growing in Cuba as the Cuban people exercise their right to peacefully assemble to express concern about rising COVID cases and deaths and medicine shortages. We commend the numerous efforts of the Cuban people mobilizing donations to help neighbors in need." But Republican Senator Marco Rubio, whose parents fled Cuba, is calling that ridiculous.
This is not just about COVID. This began well before COVID. These people are frustrated. They want to live in a normal country. So why can't the State Department, why can't the White House just say it clearly? This is not about COVID. This is not about anything else. This is about freedom. Say it.
Okay, so after the senator spoke, obviously from a place of knowing, then a little bit later, Chung tweeted this: "We stand by the Cuban people's right for peaceful assembly. We call for calm and condemn any violence." What, no talk about COVID? KT McFarland, former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump. KT, great to have you on the program. Your expertise is right on time today. Let me just start with this. Why is there any sort of thought that this is different than what it actually is? People rising up against cruelty in a communist island nation and the fact that they don't have enough food.
Look, this is a really significant uprising because it's spontaneous. It's nationwide in Cuba. It's not just all about COVID, although that's part of it, but it's about 60 years of incompetent communist rule. And if you'll notice, the people on the street who are doing the demonstrating, they're young. They weren't alive when Castro took over Cuba, which Bernie Sanders kindly refers to as the good old days. These are people who have looked and seen that their cousins in Miami and in the United States are doing very well economically. With the opening to Cuba, they've now had a lot of tourism, American tourists. So the Cuban people, particularly the young people, their eyes are open. They know what the rest of the world is experiencing, and they know why they don't have it, and that's why they've taken to the streets in a very brave act. I think this could be potentially a pre-revolutionary, pro-democracy revolutionary situation in Cuba.
So wouldn't the Biden administration at least have to see it that way and recognize it as such? I mean, I'm a little confused with some of the rhetoric coming out of the administration right now. What we say matters. Remember the people in Iran, when they were ready to march, there was silence from that particular White House. All right, the Wall Street Journal editorial board is reporting that the Biden administration is considering dropping, and here's a quote, this is what they call it, Captive Nations Week, a proclamation condemning Soviet and communist imperialism and repression. Makes perfect sense, but they want to drop that. White House aides have reportedly been floating a new idea of ditching the phrase in favor of Free and Open Societies Week. They write the difference here may seem semantic, but the notion of captive nations carries a lot more moral weight than free and open societies in the contest between democracy and authoritarians. Language matters. Why is this happening?
Well, I think that, the only people who like socialism and communism in the world today, they're in the United States Congress and I guess in the Biden administration. Why we would drop what America has stood for decades, for centuries, which is democracy, free expression, rights, the opportunity society, and to somehow have this sort of throw that away for this gauzy notion of I don't even know what that statement says. This is the time when we should stand up, and especially if you see what's happening in Cuba. If you see what's happening in Hong Kong, if you see what's happening in other parts of the world, America can lead again as a democracy, not just as, I don't know, a pro-Russian Chinese vassal. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me why we're no longer proud of being a democracy.
That's very specific, what we tend to be morphing into when you don't say exactly who and what you are and what you stand for, right? You kind of have that nebulous zone, and somehow China always comes up. Look, I just want to ask as a quick follow to this, because I was kind of tying those two things together. Is that fair, right? Look at the timing of when they're doing this and look at what is unfolding.
In what regard? In the United Nations and in Cuba and as you point out,
we're going to stop
Iran?
calling out communist nations for what they're doing and the way that we call out a certain week, We're not even going to call it communism anymore. We're going to soften that. Free people and societies. And the timing of it is just interesting.
Mm-hmm. The timing of it is also significant because just last week, or a couple of weeks ago, the Chinese president basically said, you know, America, your days are over. Democracy doesn't work in the modern society. Only authoritarian government, only communist government. We're in charge. And it's almost like the Biden administration says, okay, maybe we should just soften our position on democracy. This is when we should double down on support of democracy, not shrink away from it. Because we are in now a clash of civilizations between the Chinese civilization, democracy, communism, authoritarian governments. And as even the Chinese #2 man in China said to me once, you know what we're heading for? This is China versus America, and America really is Rome. We are heading for a clash of civilizations.
Wow, and America really is Rome. Fascinating. Pentagon officials defending pulling out U.S. troops from Afghanistan as the Taliban is taking more territory. Let's watch.
Are you surprised that the Taliban is making these kinds of sweeping advances so quickly?
We're certainly watching with deep concern, Chris, the deteriorating security situation and the violence, which is, of course, way too high, and the advances and the momentum that the Taliban seems to have right now. What we do have is a lot of diplomatic leverage, and we're using that. We are still involved in trying to broker forward a negotiated settlement in Afghanistan, and nothing has changed about our commitment to that.
However, Congressman Adam Kinzinger says the situation has deteriorated so much that the U.S. may have to go back.
No, I agree. It's a crushing defeat. You know, the Taliban always had a saying. They said America has the watches, but we have the time. You know, I'm proud of the American people for sticking by this mission for 20 years. We actually needed to do it longer.
KT, go back?
I don't know, he's crazy. Look, we should have left in December of 2001. We defeated al-Qaeda, who was our real enemy. We defeated them in 3 months after September 11th. And yet we stuck around Afghanistan to try to build the most primitive, illiterate, corrupt, tribal nation in the world into some kind of modern democracy. It was never going to work. It hasn't worked. Anybody else who's tried it throughout history. I'm glad we're leaving. I'm sorry we've spent 20 years and trillions of dollars, and most especially American blood and treasure, on a place that really doesn't matter, propping up leaders who don't like us in a country that doesn't want us.
KT, I got to let you go real quickly how China factors into this, because there are reports that they are eyeing some sort of a commercial relationship with Afghanistan. What are you hearing? What does it mean?
Okay, what China wants is two things. One, they want the gold, the copper, the rare earth minerals they think they're going to mine in Afghanistan. Number two, they want a road. They want to be able to connect through Pakistan and Afghanistan, Europe to Asia, to make a modern-day trade route. And Afghanistan figures very importantly. I think they're going to have a lot of trouble with both of them.
All right, we'll watch it. KT McFarland, thank you. Good to see you.